Okay, this video is for Algebra 2, and it is a quick review for the quiz you're going to take over monomials and polynomials. If you have parentheses with an addition between them and there's no number, then the parentheses really aren't doing anything. So you can just go ahead and find your like terms. 19x and 5x are like terms. 6 and 15 are like terms. So you would just combine those. 19x plus 5x gives you 24x, and then 6 plus 15 gives you plus 21. Since it's a positive 21, you've got to put the plus there, and that is your answer. We have another one with two sets of parentheses and nothing between them but the plus, so you're once again just combining your like terms. 14x squared and 13x squared, 7x and 18x, and then your 5 and your 9. So 14 and 13 gives you 27x squared. 7x plus 18x gives you plus 25x, and 5 plus 9 gives you plus 14. Keep in mind that when you are simply adding or subtracting, you do not change the exponent at all. Exponents are just used to group like terms. Same thing here. X to the 7th does not have anything it matches up with. X to the 6th goes together. 12 doesn't have anything. X to the 5th doesn't have anything, and x squared doesn't either. So you're going to just bring a lot of this stuff down. We like to go from largest to smallest exponents. So 10x to the 7th did not match up with anything. We bring it down. 5 plus 8 gives you 13x to the 6th. Then your plus 10x to the 5th plus 11x squared plus 12, and that would be your answer. You cannot combine them because they all have different exponents. Subtracting, you've got to be careful about this and either distribute a -1 or keep in mind that you are subtracting as you do your like terms. 19 minus 13 is 6x. 17 minus 12 is 5, so plus 5. Okay, so now there's nothing between them at all, which means you're multiplying. You're actually going to distribute. This problem is written backwards from what you're used to, but you still do the same thing. Your negative 3x gets distributed to everything in the other set. So negative 5x times negative 3x is a positive 15x squared. Negative 4 times a negative 3x is a positive, so plus 12x, and that is your answer. Your 2x is going to get distributed, so 2x times 8x squared gives you 16x to the 3rd. Remember, you're going to multiply your coefficients and you're going to add your exponents. 2x times 7x is going to give you plus 14x squared, and 2x times negative 3 is going to be minus 6x. You're going to distribute your 9. This is another one of the backwards problems. Negative 6x times 9 is negative 54x squared. 5 times 9x is plus 45x. This is one where you have to do FOIL or distribute both of them. 10x has to go to both. 12 has to go to both. 10x times 8x is 80x squared. 10x times 2 is plus 20x. 12 times 8x is plus 96x. 12 times 2 is plus 24. On one of these problems, the two terms in the middle should always combine. So bring down your 80x squared. 20x plus 96x is going to give you 116x. It's positive, so plus. And then bring down your plus 24. Make sure you have a plus or a minus between every term. Make sure you realize when you get to the middle, the last step when you're combining the two in the middle, that you don't change an exponent because you're not multiplying anymore. Same thing here, 8x goes to both, and then 2 goes to both. So 8x times negative 5x is negative 40x squared. 8x times negative 5 is minus 40x. 2 times negative 5x is minus 10x, and 2 times negative 5 is minus 10. The 2 in the middle should combine, so bring down your negative 40x squared. Negative 40 minus 10 is going to give you negative 50x, and bring down your minus 10. You're distributing your 5 to everything on this one. 5 times negative 4x squared is negative 20x squared. 5 times 6x is plus 30x. and 5 times negative 9 is minus 45, and that is your answer. All right, so now you're thinking back to monomials. You got to deal with your powers. This right here means that you're going to do 9 rooftop 3 in your calculator. Okay, so 9 times 9 is 81, because I don't have a calculator with me. And then 81 times 9 is going to give you 729. X to the, you got to take 1 times 3. Remember, when it's power to a power, you multiply, so to the third. Times, now keep in mind, all of this is getting raised to the 0 power. And the rule is anything to the 0 power equals 1. So it's like that is gone and replaced with the 1. This times 1 stays what it was. So you're going to have to do 20 to the third. So 20 times 20 is 400. And then 400 times 20 is going to give you 0. And then 0, 0, 8,000. X to the 3 times 3 is 9. Divided by, oh look, all of this is to the 0, so that would be a 1. So here's your answer. So P to the 3 times 2 is 6. S to the negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. This is not an acceptable answer, though, because I do not want negative exponents. And the way you fix a negative exponent is you make it a fraction and you move that part to the bottom. The only thing that moves is what had the negative exponent. So it becomes P to the 6 over S to the 6. When you move it, all that happens is that you lose the negative in front of the exponent. So this is going to become G to the 3 times 5 is 15. Times, you're going to have 4 to the 4th, which would be 4 rooftop 4. So you're going to have 4 times 4 is 16 times 16, 256. G to the negative 4 times 4 is negative 16. V to the negative 4 times 4 is negative 16. You're now multiplying these, so it becomes 25. G to the 15 plus negative 16 is negative 1. V to the negative 16. The only thing that is a problem is the exponent that is negative. 25 is a positive number. It doesn't have an exponent. It is all good, so it stays in the top. G cannot be to the negative 1, so it goes to the bottom. V cannot be to the negative 16, so it goes to the bottom. This is your answer. So this would become m to the negative 12. Can't have a negative exponent, so it has to go to the bottom. M to the 12 on the bottom. Can't leave the top empty, so you put a 1 over it. This is your answer. So this one, the first thing I did here was I changed the division into a fraction. It doesn't really matter the order you do that. 11x all has to be squared. 11 squared is 121. X, when you square it, becomes x squared. Over negative 2 to the negative 3. Now be careful with that, because I don't want a negative exponent. So the way you fix that is you say, well, what is negative 2 to the third? Well, that would be like negative 2 rooftop 3, and you would get negative 8. But it was a negative exponent, so it has to move to the top, okay? Still negative, okay? Still negative 8, but it's got to be at the top. And then x to the negative 3. Okay, we don't want that. That's going to have to go to the top as well. So 121 times negative 8 is going to be a negative 968. And then x squared over, okay, 2 is bigger than negative 3, so it stays in the top. 2 minus negative 3 becomes 2 plus 3, which is 5. There are some other ways you could get to that answer, but it's got to be the answer. The confusing part is that negative 2 to the negative 3. The negative 3, move it, and it becomes negative 2 to the positive 3. And negative 2 to the positive 3 is negative 8. All right, so that was your review. You should be ready for your little quiz. Call me over before the quiz if you have questions.